It's Craig Beals. We've got the next step in the mole. We're going to look at moles of a compound and turning that into mass and turning mass of a compound and back and forth. I'm going to make this quick with two good examples and follow along if you start to fall behind. I've got videos on either side of this that will really explain the steps in between. And then the next video is the one that's going to take us all the way to the end of moles. So I'm going to cruise through this one. The instructions I've been using all the way along in this series of videos is right here. You need to write down what you know, and what you know is whatever the numbers are. Let me clean that up. Whatever the numbers are. In this case, we've got 4.00 moles of CaCl2, moles of CaCl2, calcium chloride. Now, I'm going to try to get my answer all the way at the end in grams. That's what the mass is telling me. So grams of calcium chloride. In order to do that, I need to set up conversions. That's 2 down here. Set up conversions to get rid of some units. I've got moles of CaCl2, so I need to put moles of calcium chloride down here in order to get those to cancel. And I can turn moles into pretty much anything I want, which means I should be able to take moles and turn that into grams of calcium chloride. Well, how do I go from moles to grams? What's my conversion? I have moles and mass, that's the molar mass. Where do I get the molar mass? Well, the mass of 1 mole is just the mass of all of those elements together. So let's add this up. I've got calcium. I'm going to put a 1 next to that to remind me there's only 1 calcium. When I look calcium up on the periodic table, it's got a mass of 40.08. Chlorine, getting this from right here, CaCl2, I've got 2 chlorine, and each chlorine has a mass of 35.45. Now remember, I have 2 of them, so I have to multiply that by 2, and I only had 1 of the calcium. So this is a little redundant, but that's okay for practice purposes. The 35.45 times 2 is 70.9. I'm going to add those together to get the overall mass of CaCl2. I get 110.98, and this is grams per mole. I'm just going to take this right up here next to the grams because we calculated the mass and put 110.98 grams up here. These units cancel because they're on opposite sides of the line. And look, I wanted mass of CaCl2. Well, that's what I have right here. I take out my calculator. I take 4.00 times 110.98, and I get the following: 443.92 grams, because that's the only units I have left, of CaCl2. Next example. I said this was going to be quick. We just stick with the game plan right down here that we've been using in every sequence of the mole videos. I write down what I know, which is what is given to me. That's 2.50 grams of zinc sulfate, ZnSO4. Now, I'm trying to get my answer in moles of zinc sulfate when I get done. And right now I'm in grams. So I wrote down what I know, and I need to next set up conversions to cancel the units. So I'm going to set up a conversion factor, and at the bottom down here I need to have grams of ZnSO4 so that will cancel this out. I can only turn grams into one thing. I can only turn grams into mole, which is why we're learning about moles. In moles of ZnSO4. Now I have moles and mass and moles and mass. Where do I get the molar mass? Right back to the periodic table. 1 mole is just the mass of all of the stuff in that compound or in that molecule. I've got zinc, and I've only got 1 of those. I've got sulfur. I've got 1 of those. And oxygen, I have 4. So when I look up the mass of all of these, zinc is 65.39. I'm going to times that by 1. Again, I know that complicates things, but I'm just trying to keep everything consistent. Sulfur's mass is 32.07. I'm getting these right off of the periodic table for the mass of each one of these elements. There's 1 of those. And then I've got oxygen, 15.99. That's the one I use. You can use 16.00. I use the 15.99 for reasons that we'll get to way on down the road. Then I just need to multiply these. Times 1, 65.39. Nothing changes there. 32.07. But here I've got the 15.99, and I've got it times 4, which gives me 63.96. I'm going to add all of this up to get my molar mass of zinc. I get 161.42. Let's move that right here, 161.42. Cancel some units. And here we go. We're left in moles of zinc sulfate, and that's what we want, moles of zinc sulfate. I take 2.50 divided by 161.42, and I'm going to get 0.015. I know that a lot of people like to put that 0 out in the front so they don't get confused. ZnSO4, or zinc sulfate. So these are the only two examples. I said this one was going to be nice and quick. We'd get it out of the way. Again, if you don't understand what I was doing there are videos ahead of this one that you need to go and look at. But what I'm really trying to do is make a baby step towards the next one, which is taking the mass of a compound and turning that into atoms or turning that into ions, and then vice versa. It's kind of the pinnacle of being able to do moles, and it's coming up in the next video. Keep on learning.